the three of us should talk some soul. Let our words run free like rambling foes. We could chat as Dark Souls 2. The games before that, woo!
Oh my.
Whatever boinks to mind. Twin Humanities with Dave Klein.
You got a friend in
CJ.
Hello again, Twin Humanity friends, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 3 of Twin Humanities, in what is turning into be the season where we talk to all the people we like, which is no bad thing. As always, my name is Paddy. I am the luscious ginger. Joining me on my left, I guess, even though we're all sitting in different rooms, is my cohort, the saucy brunette. That is CJ.
Hello.
And to my right, did I say right? Fuck it. To my other side, we are joined across the Atlantic from a big sea in between us by the one and only Mr. Dave Klein from DaveControlLive on the YouTube. Hello, Dave.
Where am I? What are we doing? What?
Yeah, remember we've got the pictures of you with that donkey, and we have your parents in some sort of shed in the south. So yeah.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, I'm Dave. How are you guys doing?
It's the pep.
So welcome along, Dave. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on board.
Thank you so much for having me. Like I've told you guys and mentioned before, I love listening to your podcast. So,
it means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, and your videos have literally saved my butt on many occasions already in Dark Souls 2. So thank you.
Oh, good. How far are you guys in Dark Souls 2?
Well, I've finished it about a week ago, and I'm just mopping up all the bonus stuff. I have one boss left to go before I start my New Game Plus run. I think, CJ, you're much further behind, aren't you?
I'm in Drangleic Castle at the moment with the three golden gophers. Sorry, three golden golfers. The ruined sentinels near the start of that are just kicking the crap out of me, and I've helped a few people out.
Come on.
Well, I know. I watched you on that stream.
That's where you were a couple days ago.
I know. I watched you on that stream today, taking them on. Honest to God, Paddy, his skill with Dark Souls is just—it's like I'm moving through a different time zone.
It's like his hands are made out of robot.
No, it's just like in the future, frequencies enable people to play video games, just like this. So yeah, I was watching Dave's stream, and the way he was taking down the Ruined Sentinels was just like la la la, talk to the community, talk to the people on the stream, taking them down, and he was absolutely tearing them a new arse. And I'm thinking, no, I think there's a degree of inner panic when I take on people like that.
Always, like the first time I fought them, I just sort of popped into that room in the Bastille and just literally cacked my pants, didn't know what to do. And then later on, when you find them in Drangleic Castle, I think I actually squealed when the door. I was like, "Oh no, it's these again!" And I don't perceive how you can get to a point where they're easy. Like they suck. I hate them.
I think
when you make Dark Souls videos constantly and you have to play the game nonstop.
Oh yeah.
You get pretty good at it.
Yeah, but I just played the game nonstop.
I mean, I probably.
Go on.
I was gonna say I probably beat the game like 3 times or 4 times by April or mid-April.
Oh.
So
you won New Game Plus on the Twitch stream the other day.
Yeah, I was on New Game Plus in the Twitch stream.
I see with the Ruin Sentinels, I didn't have that much trouble with them in the Bastille. I'm sure I got them about maybe third time, but I think that in Dranglake Castle, because you can walk into the centre of the room, and if there's an open door, one can come from the left, one can come from the right, and they can sort of gang up on you. I don't know. It just. I've even had, there's moments when you squeal uncontrollably when something you think will pay off doesn't. And I've gone into one of the rooms, just run purposely into one of those little tiny rooms to take one on in close quarters, thinking, yeah, I can do this because they can't really move around too much. And then the other one comes to the door.
That was and you're like, it comes to say hi. It's like, hey, what's up, man? I see there's a battle going on. I want to join.
Yeah, and I was like, ah! And there's the point where you think, shield up, and then you see your stamina just go down with a clang, and then down with a clang, and then that kind of flailing sort of expression that they're doing. You just think, I'm gone. I'm absolutely gone. But even bringing in other players at this point hasn't really got me that much further. So I've got that one. Paddy and I have started up a bit of a bro-up run, so I'm trying to complete different build on that one, as is Patrick, with the rule that you can't use or rely on any of the equipment that you've used in your main game. Both those on PS3, and I've got the 360 version as well, so I've started up a game on 360 with a different build again. So yeah.
No drink like mail.
Yeah, no Dranglake mail. It's the best. Good.
It is beautiful, but also early on you look at the stats and they're way higher than everything else.
Well, that's what I mean. It's just so OP. It's so overpowered compared to everything else. But yeah, I agree with you. Those Rune Sentinels are way harder than the boss. I think they have a way far upped defense and also upped health. And then the fact that you also have tons of Stone Guardians and all that you don't want to wake up if you go too far away from fighting them. Just makes it overall much more difficult.
Yeah, I've tried a sort of a hit and run tactic in there because I got to when I was taking them out methodically and then sort of fucked up the last one. I thought, well, I'm still going to get the item in that room, so I ran in and I think 4 of them came out at one point. And I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll run away and they'll give up. They didn't give up. I'll take them out one, and they just stood by the door waiting for you. Like, oh, come on!
I'll tell you who the sods for that are. Those little iron knights that sit by the doors. That often there's a point where they look like they're going to rubber band, and they start walking back, and then run towards you, go further than the door, and launch him with that spear attack. I was like, "Oh, well played, sir. Well played." So, Dave, how did you get into the Souls games in the first place?
So, how I started with them was first I hadn't played Demon's Souls because I didn't have a PS3 for a really long time. So I was working I'd interned at G4, and I was working at E at the time, like after G4, which is in the same building. And I saw the trailer, the Bartholomew trailer for Dark Souls, and I was like, I gotta get this game. This game looks amazing. So after it came out, I talked to one of my G4 friends, and I was like, hey, so Dark Souls looks amazing. Should I get it? And he goes, no. The game is awful. It's incredibly unfair. It's difficult, but in a bad way. And I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm not going to listen to you. So one of my friends had just finished working for Bandai Namco doing a trailer for them. Actually, one of my roommates at the time. And he knew I wanted the game, and he just came back one day and was like, surprise, we got free copies of Dark Souls. So, yeah, I started playing it. It was in November. It was like right when it came out. I started playing it, and just instantly I was like, this game is incredible. I fell in love right away.
Was there anything particular that clicked for you, or was there that degree where you felt out of your comfort zone at first, and then suddenly, oh my god? Or what was? Do you remember the moment when everything fell into place a little bit?
Well, I mean, for me, I think the fact that first boss, honestly, the very first boss, I'm still in Dark Souls 2 mode. I'm starting the Silent Demon.
Yeah.
So I'm like in Dark Souls 2 mode. I'm starting to forget names. Silent Demon right when you first see him in the very beginning of the game, and then you turn around and have to go fight him again. And I was just like, I never had that level of panic in a game, and that level of, oh my god, you mean I have to kill this thing? I have to do this? 'Cause in games like God of War, you're just given that you're all powerful, so it doesn't matter how big an enemy is. You just know that it doesn't matter. So for Dark Souls, for you to immediately feel like this was a true challenge and that much of a reward for beating that giant boss.
So the moment when it really clicked for me was when I was in the forest. And A, I love forests in the first place, so just seeing a forest environment automatically clicked with me. But B, you're up at the top of the waterfall, and you see the Hydra down below. And that was the first time I saw what the beast was that was shooting the giant fireball-related things at me were.
Yeah.
And I just looked down and I was like, wait. So the game wants me to fight that? That's what it wants me to fight? Are you kidding me? And the moment of just that realization, that was when it clicked with me just how epic everything felt. And just the fact that, like, I'm going to have to fight that thing. That's insane.
I had exactly the same reaction to the Hydra. It's like, look at that, and it's just there. And they're not hiding it behind a wall, it's just sitting there, and it's waiting for you.
Right, and it's like, that's not even a boss. But that's something you have to kill.
And it does that thing as well, where you just sort of go out and you see it, and then, oh look, what's that in the? Oh, it shot me. And like it's like CJ says quite a lot. It doesn't. The game won't spend hours kind of doing these 360 panoramas of, ooh, look at this, ooh, look at this, ooh, we're gonna look at all the angles on the thing we made. No, you just go through a door and shit just starts.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, like again with the Asylum Demon, you're walking through and then hello, and it just jumps on you. You're like, oh god,
I think there's something so wonderful about the timing of the Asylum Demon dropping in, and you note that you're having that gasp and the sort of the tightening of the knot in your stomach. That's the point where you see the door and you run for the door, and obviously the Asylum Demon will make a swing for it or whatever, and the door shuts behind you, and I guarantee everybody that's played the game goes
Yeah.
And instilling that panic. I mean, games are seemingly all about making people feeling all powerful. You know, you were saying, Dave, about God of War and the likes of your Halos and stuff. You know, but in Dark Souls, there seems to be this element of feeling really small and human and ill-equipped against the world, and I think that then relates to when you do overcome a challenge, or you think of a way to make yourself bigger and more powerful. It seems all the more of an achievement because you've got there and you've overcome it, but your way.
Absolutely, and I think that's what's so great about the actual design of the game too, and the fact that everything does seem that much more challenging. Because if it was a game like God of War, it'd be like, okay, well, that's just another enemy. It doesn't matter. But, I mean, it also goes to test for how great the artists are from Software and the designers for creating the bosses that were so well designed to instill that fear. But then on top of that, the fact that you feel so normal. Like, wow, that guy looks insane because I'm normal. It's not just... It wouldn't be nearly as epic, any of those boss fights, if you felt all powerful like they were nothing.
Yeah, like if they turned up in God of War or Devil May Cry or something like that, you'd be like, oh, okay, I'll just use the X weapon and just hit X a lot of times.
Right.
To run to a slight aside from there, but connected. How do you feel about the bosses in Dark Souls 2 compared to Dark Souls? Because there's been a lot of discussion, particularly about the bosses, that they are missing a little bit of something special, or a little bit of majesty, I guess, from the previous game.
Right. So I don't want to be like Debbie Downer, but I do like Dark Souls 1 the most of the three games. So in that regard, for Dark Souls 2, when it comes to the bosses, I think, and Terramantis and I have been talking about this a lot, the reason that the bosses don't feel as epic, one reason is because that intro in Dark Souls 1, where these bosses that you're fighting are basically the gods who have created the world as it is. And you're seeing how incredible they are, and the fact that, like, oh my god, these guys are all powerful, they've destroyed the dragons, they have started an entire age, and these are gods. So you know these guys are incredibly badass when you go to fight them. And then Dark Souls 2, you never get anything like that, so there's no reason, unless you really dig into the item descriptions, to feel like, well, is this guy I'm fighting super crazy, or is it just a what is it? You don't get that same feeling.
Mm.
Do you think the increase in the amount of bosses, whether optional or not, in Dark Souls has added to that? That there's seemingly more of them, and also I think the map seems to me much more expansive. And in Dark Souls, it seemed very much like everything seemed interconnected, and you could get to each place just by walking through an area and then tying back to another one, rather than the second one seems very much level.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think when it comes to the bosses, it's kind of a mix. Like, I actually did enjoy the fact that there were more bosses, because to me, when I was for my first playthrough going through the game, I enjoyed having the tally and looking at all the souls and being like, I've defeated this many bosses and this many bosses. That was kind of fun to me.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, it meant that the designs of the actual bosses themselves, they didn't seem as intimidating to me. For the most part. And that could just be because I'm so much better at the game now. As CJ was saying, he was watching me play, and it looked like I was just weaving through them like butter. But, I mean, that could be the case, but a lot of the bosses kind of designs run into each other a little bit more because there are so many more bosses. And none of them feel as special. It doesn't seem like a lot of them have as much lore behind them. Whereas in Dark Souls 1, not all of the bosses, like I know the Silent Demon and the Stray Demon and the Fire Sage Demon all were exactly the same boss, basically.
Well, I don't know. One of them had a magic attack. Come on.
Yeah, totally different. But I mean, for the most part, though, a lot of those bosses felt like there was a really deep lore behind them and why they were there, without you even needing to dig into it. And
there were
Dark
reasons,
Souls,
weren't there? There were you get to a place and everything was there for a goddamn reason.
Right, and with Dark Souls 2, those bosses don't quite have that same feeling to them, and part of that's that expansive thing, and I think it's just, I mean, to me, that this is the big reason why I prefer Dark Souls 1, is because over both Demon Souls and Dark Souls 2, I just love the interconnectivity of the map. I think it's brilliant world design. So, to me, that was such a key factor and part of why I love Dark Souls 1 so much. Not that, I mean, I love Dark Souls 2, don't get me wrong, but that to me was a huge element.
There was an interesting thread that came up on Reddit last week where I'd heard it said before that Dark Souls 2 is what it is but the people that all the designers didn't work to Pep.
Thank you so much.
People that worked on Dark Souls and on Dark Souls 2, and the amount of people that worked on the first two games that didn't work on Dark Souls 2 was huge. And obviously Miyazaki's not there, but the lead programmer isn't there, the lead artist isn't there, and then there were tons and tons of staff. So whatever Miyazaki's working on, it looks like he's, on the face of it, that he's taken his lead programmer and an artist and a ton of the staff. So I find that I'm really curious.
I'm actually happy to hear that. I mean, not because of Dark Souls 2 being good or bad or anything like that, but just because I think Miyazaki deserves to have the full team behind him, and I'm actually really excited to see what he's working on. Honestly, and I know a lot of people are hoping that he's working on Dark Souls 3 or Demon Souls 2. I hope he's working on a new IP, and I'm glad that he has his full team behind him.
I'd be curious if maybe From had taken money from another company to sort of apply a bit of sparkle to a franchise. I know that on the previous show, Dan Marr was saying that a lot of folks have said, it'd be interesting if Miyazaki was on Zelda. The Castlevania's always been a comparison that's been sort of thrown at Dark Souls. That there's a lot of similarities, but Dan was saying it'd be really interesting if maybe Miyazaki was working on a Metroid in a Dark Souls style. I was like, that could work.
That could definitely work. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Castlevania Symphony of the Night in a lot of ways, meets Zelda. I guess if I were to take two games for Dark Souls, because Dark Souls takes the Metroidvania style more so than Demon Souls. But yeah, Dark Souls 2 to me feels a lot, honestly, to me, in terms of the design, it feels a lot more like Demon Souls 2 than Dark Souls 2.
I think that has to do with the way the spoke, like you're not travelling in the bonfire side. Jack guys say it's a lot. Like Dark Souls 1 is kind of quite vertical in its design. Dark Souls 2 sprawls a lot more, so it kind of goes out. So you're kind of travelling through levels that do all connect, but they do feel occasionally like the sort of wheels on a spoke. In the same sort of way they do in Demon's Souls. You know, you can go to anyone you want, you know, in any order, and just sort of travel through wheels on a spoke. And I kind of like that it does feel bigger, but in places, yeah, you're right, doesn't really feel quite as connected.
Well, it's that, and then also even the gameplay itself. So, I mean, when I was making a comparison video for my channel on Dark Souls 2 compared to Demon's Souls and Dark Souls and which elements they were drawing from, I mean, take dodging, for example. In Dark Souls 1, you kind of roll around your enemies when you fight them, and then Demon's Souls, you don't at all. So now Dark Souls 2, again, you don't at all. When it comes to parrying is much more difficult to pull off that timing in Demon's Souls. Dark Souls, they made it a little more lenient, and in Dark Souls 2, once again, it's a little more difficult. I mean, that could just be the way I play, because I play as a dex build, but I found myself, in the way I play the game, I ended up playing it a lot more like I play Demon's Souls, as opposed to the way I play Dark Souls. Just because that's what the design went.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. Like mechanically and just in terms of overall design, I found Dark Souls 2 to be like an exact blend of Demons and Dark 1. Like, it feels like the middle point of those two games in sort of the mechanics they've taken from this one and the mechanics they've taken from that one and mixed them together. And I get the same sort of feeling. Like, it kind of feels like not quite one, but not quite the other. In a good way.
No, yeah, I mean, and there's also some things they've implemented that were really good, like the arrows. I mean, the fact that you can shoot your bow while moving, that's a great implementation.
Yeah, I used the arrows to pieces in my original run, to the cost of removing a few NPCs as well.
Yeah.
If I see you and you look threatening, you're gone. So whether you were wheeling and dealing, or you were like a cross between the Emperor from Return of the Jedi and Professor X.
You sinner!
Yeah, it was just like, I don't trust that.
Yeah, I learned the hard way that is a bad thing to do. I let people attack me first, then I'll have a go at them. I learned that the hard way with a certain dragon. I was in a very much shoot first, ask questions later mode, and I really, really shouldn't have been. 121,000 souls later, I got a pardon.
Oh, man.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that ancient dragon is...
God, just don't shoot him with arrows from the start thinking you're clever. Just don't do that.
That's a great boss. What are you talking about? It's really easy.
Oh, God, it's such a good boss fight as well, isn't it? Like, it's the pinnacle of great design.
Oh, yeah, pinnacle of great design.
Fuck me. And this is a really good point to say this. Your video about that dragon, without that video, I wouldn't have done it. I'd already bounced off it about, 30 times at this point? I was kind of trying to rock the Germ shield and kind of, tank up the fire blast and go in afterwards. And the problem being that you cock up once, you're dead. Like, one hit, you're dead. So I kind of took a lot of advice you said about, getting to his tail and watching for where the tail bump goes and avoiding that any time the tail goes down, it can kill you.
Yeah.
Which,
even if it just touches you.
Christ, yeah. I laughed my head off when it happened. But I felt, for God's sake, not again.
Is this the final boss of the game, is it? Or?
It's an optional.
No,
it's an optional.
It's an optional boss, but it's not well designed, really. And
no.
And I'm glad, though. I'm glad to hear that the video helped, because, I mean, it's funny, like, I get so many people on that video commenting that's the worst strategy in the world and things like that. I'm like, well, I don't know what to say. It worked for me, so
yeah.
I mean, trying to share it.
I'll add my own tips. Take all your armor off as well. You can just bolt whenever you feel like it. I think I slapped one of the slumbering Dragon Crest shield or something on my back, the one that gets your stamina back.
Yeah. I think I had the slumbering Dragon Crest shield on because of that, but I didn't have any. I had armor on specifically so I could make it back to that boss fight without dying. That was why I had the armor on.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine for me. There are no enemies left in the Dragon Shrine.
Ah,
they're all gone. They are all gone. A long time ago.
There you go.
Yeah, and also the red tear stone ring is what I was using. I'd left one guy alive.
That's smart.
Yeah, using him to knock my health down, which was suggested by someone else on Twitter. I was like, oh, use that and then knock your health down, and then it should make the fight go a little bit faster. And I did, and it really, really worked as well. So there's another
that's a really
tip.
Smart idea.
Yeah,
definitely.
But yeah.
So do I take it that this is the kind of Dark Souls 2's bed of chaos then?
Yes. Unequivocally, yes.
You know what, though? A lot of people are going to hate me for saying this, but I actually don't dislike the Bed of Chaos boss fight.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
And this is why. Because it's different. It's so different. It's unique. And if every boss was like that, it would have been annoying. But the fact that it was so unique, I actually kind of got a kick out of it. Because it was, I mean, once you know how to do it on replaying through the game again, it's really frustrating.
Mm.
But the first time I fought him, I was actually excited because it was something so different.
It's a cool look. Like, it looks great, and like the idea behind it's brilliant. But those bloody arms, Jesus Christ! Like, oh, you're going to go down a hole now? Like, what? I had my shield. No, you're going down a hole.
So
yeah.
So were there any particular bosses throughout the games that that you've particularly hated, and which would you say is your favourite?
Man, I got my favorite boss is definitely Artorias, hands down.
Yeah,
Artorias is my favorite boss fight. Yeah, it was just brilliant design. The first time I fought him, and the first time I beat him, while I was playing Shield Up. That was before I got good at Dex and that type of style. It was my first playthrough. I replayed my first playthrough, and the DLC came out, and that was like basically I didn't know what I was doing with builds. Mm-hmm. But I was still able to beat him in that style, and it was really difficult, but it was an exciting fight. And then when I learned Dex and dodging and all that, it was still a really fun, exciting fight. So I think any way that you go about fighting him is an exciting fight. Go ahead.
No, I just had this little memory to the first time I went to Ulasil, and it was really exciting because it was so new. It was this bit of content that I had to play through the game again to get near to, and the point where you walk through that door and you realise it's Artorias, and after all of the build up with the original game and the mentions of him and the fact that you've used his ring to get into the abyss and all of this legend, to be standing in front of him, and that phenomenal cutscene that goes through where you realise he's been corrupted by the abyss, and that they're throwing no ender creatures at him, and he's just becoming sadder and madder and more corrupted, and he just looks up at you as if you're just something else that's trying to end him, as he's trapped in this arena. And he literally looks through the TV at you, and then throws that beast off his sword, which he's holding in his wrong arm. It's just one of those moments where you go, oh my word! And then that triple sword slam kicks in. It's just a tremendously exciting fight, and then where the Commodore could basically draw really detailed spikes like a spectrum, and you
you know how badass he is already before you fight him. So you go into that fight, and when you first see him come out, you're just like, wait, is that's that guy that was supposed to be the savior for everybody, who like is supposed to be the big hero from the past? Why is he standing in front of me wanting to kill me? I have to fight him? And he actually holds up to it. The boss fight holds up.
Yeah.
So it's brilliant.
It's a really good fight. Again, another one that I bounced off about 30 times. And not like it was still fun though. I was really enjoying the fight, but I was rubbish.
As well as the intimation as well that if he got his shield and was
so you can see where I factor on the pecking order. But what I like to do is because Explosive Island started because we had a great deal of community support.
But that cover that a lot of people take it from, that the cover of Dark Souls is Artorias. There's an interview with Miyazaki or with the From Software design team, and they've said that the American cover was just made by an outside design team. It wasn't even From Software who made that.
Oh, right. Okay.
So it's actually not Artorias on the cover.
Oh, man.
I hate to dispel that.
I always felt really clever about that.
my presumption was always the fact that because he laid down the shield to protect Sif, that when his arm was broken, it was the opposite arm that took up the sword.
I mean, it could be. I don't know. I'm just saying that there wasn't that. The reason a lot of people think that is the American cover, and that's what I was trying to dispel. I hate to just come in and be like, yeah, well, what about this?
Oh, crap. Oh.
But they continue with that through the DLC, with not only that he ties up a lot of the or adds adds a flourish to a lot of the speculation and the story elements in the main game. But love Calamite. No sort of introduction to moves before they happen. It's just, right, I'm going to do this. Oh, look like I'm going to do this. No, this time. Love Calamite. Phenomenal boss.
Yeah, he always throws me off. Always, like, something he'll do, and I'm like, what? Wait, that's not what I thought you were going to do.
Yeah, he didn't telegraph that at all. It just happened.
But actually, like, all the boss fights, though, in the DLC, it's just a really well-done DLC. Manus is a really good boss fight.
And that's another one of those ones where he just goes at you. Just the furious rage. It just keeps going and going. Like, there's no rest period. He doesn't kind of go and sit down and have a little wheeze in the corner or sort of do a jump attack that gives you time to heal. He's just on you the whole fight, and it's quite stressful.
Honestly, my first time fighting Manus, after a couple tries, I was like, you know what? I'm going to look this up. Went online, found out about the strategy where you just shoot him with arrows outside of the boss fog gate. Did that until he had no health left, jumped in, and then killed him with one hit. And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty good.
We did that. We worked that out, didn't we?
No, we didn't work it out. We saw a message on the floor.
Yes. It was like down or something. And we looked down and is that a little red? Oh, my God.
Yeah, that was one of the joys of messages, because when we were brought up in the game, it's like, and then you were trying to shoot but not use the targeting. I think.
Yeah, you couldn't aim down enough with your target thing. Like it was like 45 degrees up and 45 degrees down, and I needed it to be about 60. So I was stood aiming my arrows, with the free camera out, and CJ was stood next to me going, okay, left a bit. Yeah, that one is up, no, down a bit. There it is, and then just sit there for 10 minutes just firing arrows. I think we got him down to about 2/3, and then felt like we had to fight him fair, didn't we?
Fighting fair.
It's like suddenly a pang of conscience.
This is how you tell your legend to the Utility. Yes, I defeated Manus. It was fair.
It was
a very fair fight.
I had to hit him 4 times.
And then it was 2v1. Fair.
So when you were playing through Dark Souls initially, at what point did you think, I fancy doing a little bit of a comedy video and putting it on YouTube? Because the 5 strangest things about Dark Souls, I think you were saying on one of the videos that it took a bit of a pounding from certain quarters, and a few people just didn't get that you were having a bit of a laugh with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess before I go to that, you asked me what my least favorite bosses
was.
Oh,
yeah, sorry.
I should probably answer that. No, it's cool. Honestly, it'd probably either be the Dragon Rider, the first boss in Dark Souls 2, over there, just because it was so easy for me. It didn't feel like a boss. It felt like a normal enemy.
Yep, same here.
And then, or the Ancient Dragon, which is Dark Souls 2, the boss that Patty and I have been talking about.
Ugh.
Yeah, just because that, to me, was just very unfair boss design. But anyways, moving on to this. So I started making my YouTube channel at first just because I've been working on YouTube videos, as I kind of talked about in my channel update video. I've been making videos for various companies for 6 years at this point. And I just thought it'd be fun to... I made a couple... I had a chance to interview Yui Tanimura at E3. And I put up a video just talking about it because I had a chance to play Dark Souls 2 before everyone else. Just kind of talking about the gameplay and what it was like. And I got a bunch of subscribers, 25 subscribers off of that one video. And I was just like, wow, I guess people actually want to see me talk about this. So I made a second video and got some subscribers. And I thought, well, I've been wanting to make Let's Plays for a while, so might as well start making some Let's Plays. And Dark Souls, being one of my favorite games, comes naturally as a, why not do a Let's Play of that?
Yeah.
So I just thought it was something I just started doing just for fun. And then with the 5 strangest things in Dark Souls video, like you said, and kind of as I'd mentioned, it was just something like I want to make, and I still want to, I want to make more comedy videos, not necessarily just Dark Souls, but I like making comedy videos. I think they're fun to make. So I just thought, you know what, there's all these list videos and stuff for Dark Souls, but no one's just kind of taking a joking look at it, at least that I noticed at the time. And I'm sure more people have, but I just hadn't noticed it. And I thought I'd just make a video kind of making fun of certain things of it. And I tried to make it pretty clear in the video, the way I was talking about things, I thought it made it clear that I knew the game pretty well. But yeah, a lot of people yell at me for that video that I don't know the lore. They yell at me that I don't know a lot of things about Dark Souls when they watch the 5 Strangest Things in Dark Souls video, when it's very clearly supposed to be a joke. And I try to make it obvious by the way I do the countdown, because I say the number 3 like this. 3! So very clearly it's not supposed to be serious by the way I'm doing that, but a lot of people didn't, I guess, like, either they didn't find it funny, I mean, that's very possible, or a lot of people thought I just didn't know what I was talking about.
Well, I think Matt Lees recently took a bit of a swipe from certain quarters because he did a Dark Souls vid of how to find the coconut in Dark Souls, and which was a really, really funny little video. But I think a few people were taking the game so seriously that they either took it the wrong way or just didn't like the game that they love being laughed at, which is a bit daft, really.
I'm actually pretty amazed that, like, that video, when I was looking at the comments for that video, because that video, you're right, that video was great, it was brilliant. A lot of the people in the comments were like, I was actually going to do this, I thought it was real for a while.
It's like when people get upset about April Fool's jokes, it's like, oh, give it up. Look at the character.
Yeah. But that is something that I like about the stuff that you've done with Terramantis and a lot of his videos as well, that we can have sort of a little bit of a laugh at ourselves, and it's, I don't know, I like that because it just warms me to the games in different ways, I guess.
Yeah, like, I mean, I tried again eventually with The Chosen Undead as an Asshole, and that one did a lot better. So that's good. I still need to make the sequel to that. I've been planning on doing it for...
That's funny, because The Chosen Undead kind of is an asshole. Like...
Yeah. Well, that's why I made the video, is because, like, when you look at all the lore and how depressing everything is, it's kind of like, wow, I feel like such an asshole being The Chosen Undead. So I thought it'd be funny to make a parody of that. And actually, that video, all of a sudden, like, when I first put out the video, it did all right. And now, like, 3 months later, all of a sudden, people are noticing and like, hey, when are you going to make the second one? Like, months and months after I made that video, so...
Because you're at 10, is it 10k subscribers now, or is it leapt even further than that in the last couple of weeks?
It's at 13,000 now.
Man,
Woo!
So 3,000 more within, is it 15 days ago you put up that video, I think?
Yeah, well, 15 days ago that I put the story video up, I think, or the channel update. Well, the channel update I was a little late on, so I think I already had 11,000 by the time I put up the channel update.
That's still incredible, though, mate.
Yeah, I think it's just that I've been the first person to put out really deep Dark Souls 2 lore videos. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where a lot of the bumps have been coming from, is the fact that, I mean, I'm the first person really to be putting those out.
Yeah, I mean, I particularly like the ones you've been putting out about the surrounding lands. Like, I found those really, really interesting, because you get snippets off of weapons, think, oh, what's this Jugo place? Like, where's Benhart from? And unless you find the items in question, like it's quite hard to piece together. But I've really enjoyed learning about the surrounding places and how, Dragon Lake feels like a place in the middle of all these cool other places. And there's no one else really talking about that yet.
Yeah, that's great. Well, yeah, I'm glad you like that, because the reason I did that one, too, the first one, was because I figured that people who didn't want the story ruined for them and things like that could watch this video and just learn about the outlying lands, and it wouldn't be too spoilery. So that's kind of why I went with that one first. And then, honestly, the only reason I did the story video when I did, and I'm glad I did now in retrospect, was just because a lot of what I'd seen out there had been kind of wrong, to be brutally blunt. And it's just like, because people were talking about the lore before they finished the game, and I started getting a lot of comments on my videos with people having watched a different video about the lore of the game, and it was just wrong. So I was like, okay, I want to clear this up. This is the story of the game, and here's where it is, so you guys know at least, like, I mean, there's still a lot of deeper stuff to delve into, but I just wanted to at least, like, put it out there and lay it out, like, this is what it looks like the story of the game is, and now you guys can start digging deep without constantly questioning everything I put out.
Yeah,
because I haven't even gotten near that sort of stuff yet. Because I know that the first time I played through Dark Souls, it was purely for the game, and it was only sort of later when things started clicking, and I started watching some of Epic Name Bros videos, like even Privati, that things started falling into place like this. But I think one of the ways that I'm sitting back with a Roger Moore eyebrow and sort of judging things is that the lore isn't falling into place for me yet, and I'm not sure if it should be at this point, or I don't know. I think I'm still in the place where in Dark Souls, when I was looking with the Roger Moore eyebrow comparing it to Demon Souls, I think I'm still in this sort of judgmental phase, but
well, let me put it
which
this
way
way.
to sway.
Where you're at in Dark Souls 2 is pretty much just before you really start actually finding out about the story.
Yeah, I agree.
So
yeah,
you are literally sitting like right before you start finding things out.
This is like, oh, hi honey, I'm home. There's a cake in the oven. It's like, that cake, tell me about that cake. No, you have to discover the cake. You're really close to it. The kitchen's just over there. I know where the kitchen is. I just need to get past the ruined sentinels you've put in the hall.
You can have the cake, but first...
This is my favorite analysis I've heard.
You may have the cake, but first you must defeat me at Tiger Woods Golf.
And then after that, you'll find the crow's nest made by Patty.
Yay!
Did you like that video? I thought
that was great.
I had a bit of a lull at that.
Do you know what, as well? My mum is so proud of me. I have a cooking video on YouTube. And there may be more to come as well. Hint.
So,
yeah, boy, with actual baking involved this time.
I'm excited.
So, had you played, because I know you've done a number of Kingsfield vids, had you played Kingsfield prior to Dark Souls? Was that something that you investigated, just looking into From's lineage, I guess?
I actually played Kingsfield North America when it first came out for the PlayStation. One of my best friends got it as a kid, and we loved the game. It was one of my favorite games growing up, and it's a game that I'd gone back and replayed multiple times. So I played every game in the series, and that was another thing for me when I saw Dark Souls, and then I found out it was by From Software. I kind of did the, wait. So From Software made Kingsfield, and that game's amazing. This game's got to be good, because I love Kingsfield. So it was actually a game, I came into Dark Souls having played Kingsfield, and that's why I started with the Let's Plays of Kingsfield as well, is because I wanted to show people how much I love the game. And I actually want to do Kingsfield lore videos at some point, too.
Was that one of the reasons that you clicked with Dark Souls in itself? That it either reminded you of Kingsfield, or it put you in a similar mood, or just because it was like, oh, this is From, I want to investigate this a bit further?
I mean, it does remind me of Kingsfield in a lot of ways. It's like a medieval, incredibly brutal, throws you in without really explaining much. Just like, well, here you are. You're in a world full of crap, and you just deal with it. And really dark atmosphere, and very atmospheric. A lot of elements do remind me of Kingsfield, and that might be why it clicked with me, but I don't think... It had been so long since I'd played a Kingsfield game when I first started playing Dark Souls, that I'm not... Maybe it brought back some nostalgia, but it really is a different game at the end of the day, and I really look at it as honestly, I think it's one of the best games ever made, so... I'd say that's why it clicked with me. It's one of the best games ever made.
It made me laugh, actually, when the first... playthrough of Dark Souls 2 that I watched, or the first video, was yours in Forest of the Giants, and I laughed at a certain point because I thought, if anybody's going to hump a wall in Dark Souls 2, it's going to be our Dave. And when that sort of wall went up, that first one with their shoulder, I was like, oh no! It made me laugh.
That's great. I think that's really funny that you made that connection with me. So I'm glad that people think that. I got a PhD in wall checking. It's a fact.
See, I get Resi 2 off of that. Like
humping, because that could.
Yeah. I get Resi 2 off the wall humping. Like I'm thinking, yeah, I've done this as Leon Kennedy, running sideways along a wall. It's always fun though.
You know what? When I'm playing on my own, like doing a Let's Play, I feel bad because people have to watch me just rubbing it up against a wall and making intercourse with it and whispering sweet words into his ears constantly. But when you're actually playing, I think it actually has like a fun element of exploration because it's kind of that like, well, what if element to it? Like, what if this is a secret in the wall? So I actually enjoy it for the gameplay itself. But Let's Plays, it doesn't really work so well.
Yeah. What's your opinion on people putting messages right by the illusory wall?
I think it sucks. I don't know. I don't like that. It's a shame.
You activate the message. You're like, fuck off. I'm trying to look at the wall. And then every now and again you'll find one that says illusory wall ahead and it will have like 195 rates. There's nothing there. And you're like, is it that I can't activate the thing because there's this message right there, or is there really nothing here? And I'll bounce off them.
Do you think
maybe
that's the case?
Do you think that Kingsfield is something that From could come back to?
No, I don't think it is. And it's not because it's a bad game. It's a great game. It's just that it would have to compete with games like Skyrim, which, I mean, it's a different game. Kingsfield doesn't feel like Skyrim. It's very, very different. But I just don't think that people will be as accepting when they're used to games like Skyrim that are very open world. It's just such a different style that I feel like a lot of people would think that it's lost in the past if they were to come back with something like that. And if they made it like Skyrim, it wouldn't be the same game. At least in my opinion. I don't think it would be as fun if it was like that. So, sadly, I really don't think we're going to see a Kingsfield game again.
The game of From's that I've always been curious about, and I've talked myself into picking up a number of times, but it's either disappeared from second-hand shops or I've never gotten quite around to getting it, is a Togi.
A Togi?
Yeah, I think it was an Xbox
original game, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a Togi, and is it a Togi?
I think, yeah, you're right. It's a Togi. It's like a demon summoner or something.
Yeah, it's sort of a third-person action game, which with a really similar style to Dark Souls in, with the armors and the world and stuff, but a little more on the face of it. It looks a little more God of War-ish, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But they're going really, really cheaply now, and there's part of me that's just really curious, because I remember people talking about them quite favourably at the time, and I've just never gotten around to picking them up.
I think when Terramantis and I were looking at making another video together, like another inspiration video, we were kind of checking out a Togi and looking at that one to see if there's anything from there. So
yeah, I'd be curious to watch some of the bits. Yeah.
I'm not sure if we pulled anything from there, that specific game, but yeah, I don't want to spoil anything that we're working on.
Are we touching on a nerve?
Ooh.
No, I'm saying I don't want to spoil anything.
No, I'd definitely be up for that, because I think not just with myself, but I think a lot of Soul fans would be really curious just to see it, because it's hasn't been that easy to find, and it seems to be one of those like when I was trying to buy Kingsfield 4, it was either massive prices on eBay, or when it was turning up on certain second-hand sites cheaply, it was disappearing so quickly.
Interesting.
So I think that there's a lot of us that are curious about From's past, and Hell's Teeth. I even picked up Ninja Blade, and I loved that.
Yeah, I've actually, that one I have heard of, and so that one was a good game.
Yeah, it's far from perfect, but there are moments which are really, really cool. Like was it running across a train into a monster's mouth? And yeah, it's a bit bonkers. It's far from perfect, but I picked it up for about the equivalent of about $5. So it's going incredibly cheaply, and it's you can't beat it for that price. I mean, it's less than a Big Mac, I guess, or a Happy Meal or whatever it is these days.
It's sometimes with the. I completely lost my train of thought. Sometimes with From Software's. I completely forgot what I was going to say. It was really interesting, I swear.
Should we just pretend you said something interesting, and we'll all just sit there?
Yeah, let's just pretend I said something interesting.
How interesting! Ooh.
Oh yeah. It was so enlightening, I'm sure.
Yeah, a Togi's going for a Togi 2 is going cheaper than the original. Strangely enough, I'm just looking it up now. £8 for a Togi and £5 for a Togi 2. Quite bitching in for that.
I got what I was going to say. I got it.
Cool.
So the interesting thing with that I found with From Software that I didn't realize when looking at their previous games is I got 3D Dot Game Heroes. I got it recently just because when I finally got a PS3, it had been a game I've been wanting. And it's just a game I've been wanting. And I looked and all of a sudden I saw From Software on the box as I was buying it. I was like, oh my god, no way. It's From Software. But then I found out later on that apparently they didn't actually create the game. They were just the publisher on the game. And while there's actually some jokes about Demon Souls in the game.
Is there?
Which is funny. There are, yeah.
Oh, piss.
But apparently they're actually a publishing company in Japan. So that's something that maybe I'm not sure how many games people think are made by them that actually aren't, or vice versa.
Didn't the team that did 3D Dot Game Heroes go on to do something quite prominently afterwards?
I think it was
Bravely Default, yeah.
Oh, was that team that did Bravely Default?
Yeah.
That's the game I haven't played that I've been really wanting for my 3DS. But I didn't realize it was the same team.
Yeah, I just heard it mentioned the other day, and I was like, oh, right.
Yeah, Bravely Default. I want it. I want Bravely Default so bad.
So if there was to be a Demon Souls 2, is there anything in particular that you'd like to see come from Dark Souls or from King's Field, or anything that you'd like to see changed, or have you got any ideas as to what you might like for Demon Souls 2? Should it be an entity that's coming up at E3?
Well, I mean, it's here's the thing with Demon Souls: they have the hub, right, and it works for Demon Souls. But I really do prefer the vertical and intertwined world design of Dark Souls, and so that's what I would hope for. I would love to see that design brought back, and just where you're opening up the world and making it grow larger slowly, and it's an interconnected world. So that's something that I would like to see. And honestly, I want to see some really good boss design and art direction, because I thought Dark Souls was really strong in terms of that, and I think and as I was saying earlier a little bit, I don't think Dark Souls 2's art direction in terms of the bosses was quite as strong. Mm-hmm. So I would like to see really interesting bosses, because that's something that both Demon Souls and Dark Souls did really well, where the bosses were, what made them creepy and scary in a lot of ways wasn't that they were these big scary monsters. It was what a lot of Japanese companies do really well, and From Software is good at, is these enemies who look normal in a lot of ways, but there's just something slightly off about them. So it's not this like, oh, it's just a demon, so therefore it's scary. There's something more to it, where somehow they always nail it in those games. So I really want to see some interesting art design.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's something that Dark Souls 2 does suffer from. It's the bosses don't have quite the identity, I think. You think back to Dark Souls 1, and you could just list off like the bosses off the top of it, Gaping Dragon, Ornstein and Smo, you can just whiz them off. Seath, Nito, just whiz them straight off. And in Dark Souls 2, I find I have to think a bit harder. The ones that I really liked, and the ones that I really like are always the ones that seem to have like the most Dark Souls 1-y kind of setups. Like the last giant is probably one of my my favourite boss in the whole first half of the game, just because it's got that build-up. You kind of learn a little bit about him from Hag Melentra as you go in, and you're kind of seeing these giants around as you go in, and then you finally meet him, and you're like, oh, fuck. And then he's big, and he's sad, and he's dangerous and scary, and sort of melancholy at the same time. And I found that so far the bosses haven't quite hit that point as much. And in Dark Souls, it hits it all the time. Like, there's something, about a lot of them. I think
that was good. Lost Sinner I liked a lot. And then, even though it doesn't have as much rise or build up to it when you're getting to it, I just happen to like that boss fight. But Demon of Song, I think, is actually my favorite.
Oh god, I got so scared at the Demon of Song. It's such a hard trip just to get there. And then you come in and you're like, what the fuck is that? That's horrifying.
Yeah. It's actually not the hardest boss fight, but it's so horrifying in the way it looks and it was designed. I love that. I love when things are horrifying like that.
You sort of go like, oh, what is that? Oh god, oh, what's it doing? Oh god. And I had Laura on the sofa with me, laughing at me, getting creeped out by it.
Yeah, I'm trying not to say anything that'll ruin this for CJ.
Yeah, me too.
I think the moment that I've been most scared in Dark Souls 2 was Shady Woods. There's something genuinely terrifying about walking into that fog and then looking behind you, and the fog has closed in around you, and it just sent us to the core of me. I was genuinely terrified of that.
It's the endless fog door.
I totally agree. And you know what? Like, with that whole moment, too, that was the only moment for me in Dark Souls 2 that I can remember where I was exploring everything, having fun exploring. I ran into there as the fog enclosed around me. I was like, nope, I'm turning around.
Yeah.
I will come back to this area later. I'm going to explore other places first.
There's even that point where when you walk along and you realize that you can perhaps see something moving in the distance, and then maybe you see another ghost run from behind you, and you're like, what? And there's a point where you have to step back just to prove to yourself that you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a really weird experience in that the first time because I played it before the servers were on, so I got my review copy a bit early. And I sort of went in that area, and, like you say, it's a bit scary. Like, oh, crap, what's going on here? And you've got the trees that move when you attack them, which is weird. And you see a shape run in the distance. You think, oh, it's another ghost of someone. Hang on, the servers aren't on yet. Oh.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine how that must be. For the rest of the gaming public who just think, oh, it's just a white ghost running around in my game.
Yeah, that's funny because I had the same experience as you because I also got a copy early, and when I went in, I was just like, I immediately my first thought was ghost. Wait, no, I'm offline. There's no ghosts. So yeah, that must be even cooler. I think even a better experience when all of a sudden it starts attacking you, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
No.
Well, speaking of playing offline, actually, I mean, I'm really hoping that you had the same problem that I'd had here, because, I was playing offline early. There's no servers, so there's no messages anywhere. You're literally playing it blind. There's no help. No one on the internet's talking about it yet. You can't just go, how do I beat this, into Google and find out. I'm interested to find out what you thought of the Earthen Peak. Now, CJ, you've beaten this, haven't you?
Yeah,
the snake lady.
Yes.
What did you?
Of course I beat it.
Yeah, how did you get on with the Earthen Peak? Did you do the stupid thing?
Okay, so the boss is covered in poison, right? So
yeah,
I tried 15 times to beat her, Mytha, and I got her down so close. And at the time, I've been working on Prepare to Wait, that big collaboration video that I made.
Yep.
And I was talking to German Spy who worked on the strategy guide, and I didn't ask him for advice. I was just yelling, Mytha's the worst boss of all time, something like that. How much I hated her. Not that she's the worst boss, but just how much I hated her. And, how I found a poison bite ring. I finally found that. Equipped that. It doesn't do crap.
Nope.
In Dark Souls 2. So I found that out the hard way. And then, finally he was like, well, just so you know, you can burn down the windmill. And I was like, what? So I just started searching everywhere to burn it down. And I didn't even find it. My roommate was with me, and he was the one who noticed where to use it. And I was like, but I started hitting it with my sword, and I tried, and it took me a while to realize it was even your torch that does it.
Yeah.
So, because you never use your torch anymore. So I feel like the design made more sense when the game was darker and you were always using your torch all the time.
At that point, I had pyromancy, and I was sort of hucking fireballs at it, and it wasn't working. I did the same thing. I ran around, and I got in the boss fight. I was like, this whole place is poison. What am I actually supposed to do here? And I never even got close. I was like, this can't be how this is supposed to be, but I don't know what to do. And I was running up the little slope and kind of hitting it and thinking, oh, it's not this, and walking off and thinking I'd missed it. And I got lucky, actually. I kind of, a day before the official release date and before the server got turned on, I just found a random game FAQ set that said, burn the windmill. You're like, oh my god, I'm a moron. And then when you do it, it seems so obvious when you do it as well, though.
I disagree with that. I wouldn't have got near it if I hadn't seen a message in front of that little bit. I just didn't think. And also on the dumbass scale, the fight where you have to light the oil to light up the boss battle.
Oh, the Lost Sinner.
Yeah, I had no idea about that.
I didn't do that. I thought we're in the dark.
Yeah,
I've still never done that.
It's actually really easy.
I beat the boss sinner 8 times, and I've still never done that.
Oh, it's all right. It doesn't really do much for the fight. You can just sort of see the ceiling a bit, and you can see her. But then again, I never found that I couldn't see her anyway. I could always see what was going on usually.
But then, again though, that's the thing with the whole torch problem is that right. So when German Spy said that to me, and I found the various windmill areas, what I ended up doing, I didn't have pyromancy. I had no attunement slots. So I actually used a soul vessel to give myself attunement slots. So I used pyromancy and I started hucking fireballs at the windmill in various aspects of the windball. So hoping one of those things would work. So I had no clue and never caught my thought. I never thought about it at all that I should use the torch because I never used the torch up at that point in the game.
Yeah, I agree. There's only a couple of places you really ever use it. The gutters, I think, is the only place I ever used a lot of it.
Yeah, that's the only place I used it at all, which is a shame. And that's I don't care about the graphical change at all. That doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't understand is in the beta. I played the E3 version. I also played the beta. in the beta, the game was darker and you need the torch for the caves, which made sense to me. I actually like that. So I don't know why they changed that part of it, because it's just like, well, I understand the graphical downgrade. I don't understand why change that, because it seemed like a lot of the game was designed around that.
Yeah, well, from what I heard that it was, well, not completely, but one of the main factors was to balance it, because you've got you have to consider the varying kinds of players that will be playing it. So you'll have your sorcery guys that will just use their staff and don't worry about shields, so they can hold a torch in the other hand and nothing changes for them, whereas your big, sword and board guys, or your dual swordsmen, they're going to have real problems if they don't have a defensive option, because they've got to get up in people's faces. So I can kind of see the reasoning behind them doing it for balance reasons. But then again, I would have liked to see it, pitch black again.
Yeah, but doesn't that that same argument work for most builds against certain problems? I mean, I found within my run that I'm great at standing about 3 miles away and hocking sort of arrows at stuff. But when I'm up close, I'm finding it more difficult, even if I'm dual swordsman or whatever. You're always going to get your different advantages and disadvantages in play styles, which is what makes it so much fun to get out of your comfort zone and go from a strength build to a dex build, or rule out a lot of the weapons that you had initially, because it just tugs the rug out from under you and makes you play in a different way.
I can see that. I can see that. I can see it might have been fun to be like, okay, in this area I'm screwed, and have to think up a completely different strategy. And I'm all good for that, but I don't know. I can kind of see the reasoning behind it. I can see why they did it. Maybe there could have been a better solution. But if it makes more people, not want to kill themselves in certain areas of the game, I'm all for that.
Yeah, but that Shady Woods moment that we were talking about with the fog closing in around you, I felt, tying into what Dave said, I felt that the caves had an element of darkness becoming like the fog. And in the beta, when you went into that first cave, I'm sure the first time I went in, I dropped off the left-hand side.
Oh, of course you did, yeah.
That I couldn't see, and then then could hear things moving through the water that I couldn't see. And maybe I'd not even really clicked about using a torch at this point, but when I landed in the water and I heard these things coming towards me, and I was fighting in the dark, and I was throwing witching urns at them, which were lighting things up briefly, and then. When I got out of that, I think it was the second time, and got to a different area and got a set of armor that I wouldn't have normally gotten as a reward. I was terrified, but I was thrilled that I'd gone through it, and it was easily my favourite moment of the beta, and it was something that technically I'd done wrong in inverted commas, but it was phenomenal, and darkness was a huge element of that. So yeah, I think it's a shame that at least the caves and the such like they ruled it out as a mechanic.
Well, we've always got the PC version, which is probably already modded back in. So
yeah, we'll see.
Thanks, modders.
I can't play the PC version. I have a Mac.
What was it? I said last week, 11 p.m. Game launches on PC, 11:10 cheat engine enabled, 11:20 all swords become cocks, 11:30 plays My Little Pony.
Yeah, that was a good tweet.
That was good, and it's scarily accurate.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it did work that way. So
I would enjoy that mod, a My Little Pony mod. I never watched the show, but I think that'd be a funny mod to see in the world of Dark Souls.
Well, if they've done it in Skyrim, I can imagine that they'll probably turn up with Souls with the PC at a certain point. So what informs a Dave Klein build then for Dark Souls? Because when I was watching the stream, you were a bouncy son of a gun that rarely used the shield.
Well, so for me, when I first started playing Dark Souls 2, I wanted to play it pairing constantly, because that's what I do in Dark Souls 1, and I love pairing. But they nerfed the hell out of pairing and made it really hard. So then I started using the sword two-handing more, and I just realized, you know what? I'm not even using the shield, so why even equip a shield? Because I never use it.
You brazen man.
Yeah, and I always play deck style in both Demon Souls and Dark Souls, so I'm pretty much at this point used to rolling as opposed to using a shield. When I first played Dark Souls, all I did was use my shield all the time, but I just eventually got used to not using it, so I just got really used to it. So two-handing a sword and just rolling all the time just became pretty normal. It was a pretty easy step for me to take.
What I've noticed from watching your YouTube Let's Play ones is you're pretty much wearing the exact same gear that got me through most of the game. Like, is it the hide sword you've got on?
No, well, yeah, I'm using the Hate Sword.
Yeah.
I'm using the Drang Lake armor.
The merchant hat.
Which is too bad. It's too bad the Drang Lake armor's so OP. And yeah, the thing is, scaling's not as good this time around either. Like, as I've been discovering in my Let's Play, I didn't even realize how much scaling doesn't matter until my Let's Play. My Black Steel Katana has an S scaling for dexterity, and I'm a dex build. The Hade Knight Sword has like a C scaling in dexterity, or an E scaling. It's pretty low. Maybe it's even like an E scaling, but it's not that great. And my Hade Knight Sword with that lightning damage is still better than my S scaling Black Steel Katana at +8.
Huh.
I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. So apparently scaling just doesn't matter as much this time around.
I'm sort of a little bit baffled at the moment in the run that I've just started bro hopping with Paddy. I've started using the club, and I still can't understand why wood is more powerful than metal and fire.
Yeah, I've heard the Great Club, if you're a strength build, is like the most powerful thing in the world.
It's crazy. Just think it would.
It's because that's not a normal club. That's not a normal club. It's the Great Club.
So, have you invested anything into upgrading armor this time? Because I haven't even touched it, and that was a big deal within the first Dark Souls, I think, especially within Soul Level 1 runs as well, and throwing everything into armor and shields and stuff.
I have been, but I haven't noticed as much of a difference. I mean, like, actually, when you were watching the stream, I switched from the Shadow Armor, which has almost no armor whatsoever, to my Drangleic Mail +5. And my Drangleic Mail +5 didn't actually make my defense that much better, which was really surprising to me. I was expecting a giant... I mean, it is noticeable, but it's not as noticeable as I thought it would be.
I mean, the stats on the Drangleic Mail, once you've leveled up a little bit, beat Havel's a fresh thing, and that seems bonkers. Yeah. I've got the Drangleic Mail. I got the Drangleic to +5 in my kind of, my first run, and I sort of just compared it for out of interest, and I think it beats Havel's on everything but one stat.
Yeah, Havel's is, I think, better once you fully upgrade it, but it's so much heavier. But then, I mean, Drangleic Mail is a lot lighter, and it's almost as good as Havel's. It's really not that much worse.
It's the new dingy robe.
Yeah.
It's ridiculously light and ridiculously strong, and it's like, why is it that good? It's just a poncho.
Because it was hard to find. You need to make that secret worth something.
Yeah.
Have you ever been tempted into a one bro run or a speed run on any of the games?
Well, I like trying speed runs, but I like watching speedrunners like Noobist. I think it's a lot of fun.
That one. 1 hour 15 was it?
Yeah, for Dark Souls 2, and then
crazy.
Dark Souls 1. I've tried like figuring out like how he does things and adapting it. But it takes a lot of time, and to me, especially not playing on PC, the load times and the fact that I can't replay an area over and over again to practice, which you can do with the PC.
Oh, right.
It just honestly gets kind of frustrating, I guess, till you have to be like, if you mess up once, like, oh, I got to start the whole game all over again, and wait for everything to load all over again. I guess I just don't have the patience for it with this game. Like Super Meat Boy was a game that I loved, and I got really into speedruns. For a while, I was in the top 50 for speedrunners in Super Meat Boy when that game first came out. But Dark Souls, I just didn't as much. As far as one bro runs, I did that level 6 run through for my Let's Play Dark Souls, and it kind of just evolved into that. And after dealing with Manus as a level 6, I don't really ever have any intention to ever go back again as a one bro. I'm like, you know what, I did it. At level 6, one bro, nah, don't need it.
That's enough.
No way. Yeah, that was enough. Never need to do that ever again.
I think there was a thing in the original Dark Souls where we were doing the one bro run, and it was cool to upgrade into armor and stuff, and just invade people early on in the game and make their life miserable. and invest all the spoils into upgrading the armor further, and just thinking, yeah, I'm doing all right. And then you get down to the depths, and where there's normally loads and loads of summon signs, suddenly you're very on your own. And he was like, okay then, and everything becomes really scary again.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good. We started sort of bro-opping a Soul Level 1 run, which made it a little easier, I'd say, but Ornstein and Smoke was still difficult as anything.
Not easy.
Actually, well,
yeah.
I was going to say, like, Ornstein and Smoke weren't too bad for me, but, I mean, I was level 6, I had a few more levels, and I had been upgrading my Great Scythe to be pretty incredible.
Yeah.
That was one thing I got to have, is being a little bit higher of a level. But, I mean, I didn't get to use Pyromancy, because my build had no attunement slots, so I had 0 Pyromancy the whole time.
Oh.
But my favorite thing, though, was when I was doing that run, was someone invaded me, and I think as a one bro, and I just thought it was great, thinking like, you don't know whose world you just invaded in.
Please tell me you shouted that at the screen.
I did shout that. Well, I was doing my Let's Play, and I was just thinking of that, because it was during the middle of my Let's Play. And I was just like, because I was just thinking like, you think you're like invading some newbie as a one bro invading somebody, but you don't get this.
Well, welcome to die, motherfucker.
So that made me pretty happy. To just like playing that way, people like, no. I've been upgrading my stuff just fine for dealing with you.
Well, that's quite interesting. I mean, on the topic of invaders, I've found so far in Dark Souls 2, I found the Covenants. I've not really been invaded much.
No. Like,
at all, and you're supposed to be able to be invaded all the time. Like, so it's not even like you can hide behind being human or being hollow to kind of stop it. Like, I've just noticed that I've only been invaded maybe twice in the entire game.
My friend.
Yeah.
Start sinning.
Oh.
If you start sinning, it will be nonstop. I decided before I went into New Game Plus to do the whole I'm going to go on a murder fest.
Okay.
2014 and kill everybody just to see what they drop. And then I didn't realize my sin would carry over to New Game Plus.
Oh.
So my sin carried over, and all of a sudden, I was being invaded nonstop everywhere I went. Like, even it became really difficult for trying to record stuff for my lore video when I just be like, stop invading me! I need to record something!
Really?
Wow.
It was nonstop. And maybe it's also a New Game Plus thing, but as soon as my sin went away, it finally went away. I'm not being invaded anymore. So if you start sinning, it's going to be nonstop from those blue sentinels.
I am planning on doing it. Yeah. Is it the NPC field?
Yeah, it's from killing NPCs.
Oh, see,
I killed every single NPC.
I am planning on doing that before I journey to Drang Lake, like Fast 2 Furious. I love the way they spelled that. Just journey to Drang Lake, and it's just like a Fast and the Furious sequel. But I'm planning on doing the kill everyone, see what they've got. Oh, this one's
Drang Lake, too furious.
I did that with the original Dark Souls and ended up picking up the Anno Londo Blacksmith's Hammer is fantastic. It just looks like this big wooden cartoon hammer with lightning damage. It's fabulous.
I picked it up and I was wondering. It seemed like I was looking at stats and I was like, actually, this has some pretty good stats.
It's also got the R2 of the club as well in Dark Souls. So you do the massive bunny smash, which adds a little more to the wallop, I think.
That's just how badass the blacksmith is in Dark Souls 1.
Yeah.
The fact that he's using that, but then he decides to brawl you with this.
I've got this. I don't need it.
I don't even need this to fight you.
I mean, back on Invaders as well. Like I've tried being a blue bro, both in being in the Covenant of Blue, which when you don't get invaded is pointless, and being a blue sentinel. And yeah, you just don't get summons.
Yeah, I tried the blue sentinels too. I feel like it was a good thought, and it just didn't seem to work out. Like on paper, it sounded good, but I guess like I just don't think there's enough people in the way of blue.
Because
I think that's probably the real problem.
I think too many people. Like the fun is all happening in the rat bro and the bell bro. Like that's what I see people talking about on Twitter. Like they think I spent my entire night being a bell bro and it was great, and it seems quite hard for people to be able to shake that. Like they're enjoying it too much to kind of go and be what I'd call normal invaders.
Yeah, I was having a blast in the Rat Bro Covenant. A lot of people think it's like the biggest dick covenant in the world, and it is, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Matt Lee's video where he's talking about how he became far too addicted to being in the Rat Covenant? He thought he got a problem at a certain point, and there was a great bit on one of the videos where he was just mimicking a stone rat and slowly following somebody around the level. It's fabulous.
Oh, I didn't see that one. That's great. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, it's really cool.
The thing, like, I didn't even think about trying a silver talisman in that covenant. Oh my god.
Ooh.
Oh my god. I need to try a silver talisman. It's gonna be amazing.
Because I haven't done any of the Rat Bro stuff yet.
The one thing about the Rat Bro Covenant, though, is that your rewards that you get, they're fun, but they're really, at the end of the day, you get much better rewards for other covenants.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you want some Ferrous Lockstones, it's worth joining the Rat Bros for a little bit so you can get some extra Ferrous Lockstones. But other than that, the rewards aren't nearly as good, and they also don't work towards getting platinum or all your achievements, depending on your system. Whereas some covenants, you actually need to play them if you want all the achievements.
Oh, okay. See, I felt really dumb when I finished the rat thing. I did it in my first game as well, like offline, by myself. It was, I think the Royal Rat Vanguard is the one that I bounced off. The one where there's like a ton of them. And that took so long, and I got to the end, I was like, brilliant! And I talked to the leader, it's like, oh, great, it's a PvP covenant. While I'm offline, great!
I had the same thing in the Doors of Ferrous in that area. You're just like, yeah, because that boss is a pain in the ass.
I wasted so many stones there as well, like, oh, what does this do? Oh,
yeah,
this breaks everything I have, great.
So did I. I did the same thing. I was like, what is the point of these stones?
Yeah, and it's like, what is the point of this area? And then you find out, like, oh, okay.
And I literally wasted so many Ferrous Lockstones there that later in the game, when you find ones that you actually want to be using the Ferrous Lockstone in, I didn't have any.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn it! If only I'd known!
And I like that there's so many as well. Like, some of the Ferrous Lockstones are just traps. Because you see this face like, oh my god, this is a good thing. Like, the first one I properly used it on, which made me think they're all amazing, was the one in the Wharf. And that was the very first Lockstone I'd used. I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. Like, oh my god, these are all going to be great. How wrong I was. Like, in the Earthen Peak, for instance, that room that's just a horrible room full of traps.
Yeah, and then you use the Ferrous Lockstone, it just makes poison appear in the pool, and you're like, what?
Yeah. Oh, cool, poison. What? Oh, well, at least there's a chest here. Oh, no, it's not a chest.
Is that massive level a little bit later on, after you've gotten beyond the Shady Woods, after you've defeated the Scorpion Lady?
The Doors of Ferrous.
Yeah, there's tons of room for the Ferrous Lockstones, but most of those seem a little bit cheeky, shall we say?
Oh, some of the summoning in there is really, you could be, because you get pulled into other players' worlds as like a first time goer through there, and people are dicks. Like, they just leave all the enemies alive, you spawn in, they're 2 feet away, they bow, and then send you a bitchy message when you don't bow. It's like, there's a fucking elephant stood 2 feet away, I'm not gonna bow. I'm sorry.
I don't bow to people when I'm in that covenant. I know what I am when I'm in that covenant.
maybe just do the no way gesture at them.
When I'm a dragon bro, I bow, but when I'm in that covenant, no bowing. But here's the problem with that covenant, though, in that area. I prefer the rat when you're in the area with the rats, because it feels so unfair in the Doors of Ferrous area, because you literally have a mammoth to fight with you off the bat. And there's so many cool traps beyond that, too. And I wish that they just made it start beyond that, where all the cool traps are. Because there's areas where you have, like, stone germs throwing axes that you can activate and things like that are really cool. But you're never going to get to that point in the fight. It's just never going to happen.
Spawned in and there's a mammoth and some dick hucking flameswave at you.
Yeah. I mean, it's just,
my entire experience getting attacked by that covenant. Oh, look, flameswave. How original.
Well, I don't use pyro, so you haven't been attacked by me.
Oh.
I never have attunement slots. My character's always dumb.
My main guy doesn't have attunement slots either. And so what we've done on our bro run that we've been doing is I've decided, well, I've never played a sorcery run, so I'm going pure sorcerer, and it's an experience. I'm learning things like I'm learning how good and bad it is.
Yeah, my roommate's been playing as a sorcery build, and at the end he decided that he just had to put some points into strength so he could at least attack some enemies. Because so many of them actually are resistant to various types of sorceries that it makes it really hard.
Yeah. Well, I'm really trying my best to avoid it, and I think if I get any, physical weapons, it'll probably be something like the Blue Flame, I think, is the sword you get from the thing CJ hasn't found yet that lets you cast a magic with a sword.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I pick.
Cool weapon.
Yeah, it's a really, really cool idea as well. Like, oh wow, okay, yeah, that's spell sword. I'll take that.
Because you see, I'm that same run. I'm doing a faith run simply because, as daft as this may sound, I haven't found the Sunlight Covenant in Dark Souls 2 yet. And it bothers me tremendously. And I was such a loyal Sombro in the first game. It's like, right, we're going to go full on faith this time. I'll put on my George Michael clothes and let's go for it.
Well, you've gotten past it. You should be able to find it at this point.
Yeah, I kind of. Well, there was a point where I was playing the game and I was seeing people with gear that I'd not got, and I was just thinking, right, I'm going to go back to those levels, and they stand up to combing through them again, because there's always stuff that you can find, whether it's a different route, or Lord knows how you found that drop off in was it Black Gulch? I was watching that video the other day. I was like, what? But yeah, it's fun to come back through and rediscover stuff, and I think the Let's Plays are really neat for seeing a few of those as well. But
it's amazing too, because there's still areas, and like just like you, when I first went through an area, I would think I'd explored everything, and then realized there's entire sections I missed, which was great. And then even doing this Let's Play stuff, I've been going into these Let's Plays because I've already played through the game so many times, like, I know where everything is. And people will be like, I can't believe you missed this. And I'm like, what? There's still things I don't know. That's crazy.
Oh, man. I've had so many problems where I've missed obvious stuff. I completely missed the pathway up to this fight with the Scorpion Lady. Completely missed it. And it's so goddamn obvious. I actually explored the towers that kind of surround that door, didn't look through them. It took about 4 visits until I saw that path. And let me tell you, did I feel stupid?
I was hoping there's more to those towers when I climbed up them. I was like, I felt pretty cool going up the tower, and then all of a sudden it was just kind of, that was it. That was
it. Oh, good job. Now go back down the other way. There's no jump. You'll die. You'll die here. And as well as that, I also didn't find the pathway to the Shrine of Winter in the Shaded Woods. Completely did not find that. And I ran around in circles. Like, I explored every inch of every area I had open. Just like,
so you just didn't turn left.
Yeah, I've beaten the 4 big ones. I need to go to somewhere called the Shrine of Winter, but I don't know where it is. And
at the point where I was told that I needed to go to the king, I think it was, or whatever it was the last Modula said, I was just thinking, I'm really not sure where I'm supposed to be going. So at that point, I wasn't looking at sort of leaping to wiki or whatever. I was just thinking, just explore it, and that was where I was finding new stuff as well. But I remember Paddy saying that he'd missed something in the Shady Woods, and that was one of probably about the second or third place that I tried to comb sort of afterwards. Because when you see locked doors early on in the game, it's like you can't go through here yet, or you need the key of the king or whatever it might be. In the back of your mind, you go, I can't go in there yet. But as soon as somebody goes, you need to go to see the king, or you start going, right, well, where was that one? I can't remember what it said, but I'll check that out. And even the door to the king in the Forest of the Giants, I still couldn't remember quite how to get back to there, because I hadn't been back there for a while. I was like, is it round this corner, or... And no, but it was fun tromping through that area again, considerably more powerful than the first time I've been through it.
Yeah, I enjoy that stuff, actually. I like that re-exploration. It took me a while to remember the Shrine of Winter was where I was supposed to go for Drangleic Castle. Like, after the 4 souls and all that, I was just like, I know that you need the Proof of King for things, but it just took me a while to realize Shrine of Winter was where to go. I was like, exploring for a while. And because, like you, Patty, I also was like, well, can't look anywhere. I can't look online, so kind of just have to figure this out. Which was fun. I actually like that I got that experience with the game. It was nice.
Yeah, it's nice working things out. Like I worked out the ballista and the pursuer fight by myself, and I just felt like a genius. Like a goddamn.
I didn't know until people told me.
Oh yeah, I bounced off it a few times. I was like, oh, I wonder if I can use. Oh my god, it worked. And,
well, I mean, I figured you could use it, but I didn't know it would be that good.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'll just figure out how to beat him without it. I didn't know it'd be like basically his death.
Yeah.
Like.
I don't think I even noticed that ballista for a while. It was just like, big shiny thing coming towards me is going to hit me. So it was just like instant panic. Although I saw on some more from CVG's streams, he was just the king of parry with that thing. And there's a part of me that just goes, nope. When it comes to parrying, it's just, just giving something an opportunity to hit you. But he was always taking the piss with it. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I really want to get better at parrying in this game. That's something I really want to go practice. But yeah, actually, the one time I was going to use the ballista against it, and I was like, I'm going to try it. That was the attempt that, first he destroyed it right away. The pursuer just destroyed the ballista, so I was like, okay, well, I can't use it. And then I ended up beating him. So it's just like, okay, well, I guess I don't need it. But I never got to try it out. So it was actually when people told me about it. And then I didn't try it. People told me about it. And then I told my little brother to try it, and he told me that it did a lot of damage. I was like, oh, that's good. I didn't realize just how much damage it did. It's insane.
Well, not only to the pursuer, but to your friends as well.
Oh, yeah, we had a moment with our bro-up run where we went in there and we summoned someone else, and we got rid of the pursuer, and then the person that we'd summoned shot us both with a ballista.
Yeah.
Just as the souls were rushing in. So
yeah, I was doing the
survived,
war cry,
but it was,
and
yeah, it was really funny.
Wasn't his name like Only for Kills or something?
It was something. I wrote it down somewhere, but it's under chocolate wrappers and things in the corner, I think, at the moment. So.
I actually didn't know that. I didn't know, or not know that. I would say I'd never used the ballista. I didn't realize it was so powerful against humans.
Oh, yeah, you will, especially when it's post-fight, you've beaten the pursuer, you're all kind of clustered together, to like do the little war cry, yeah, dead, like, what? But we beat, and then he, oh.
You were saying about the going through the Shrine of Winter, that run up to Dranglake Castle is one of my favourite moments in the game. Where you're just opening a door into instant darkness and instant rainfall.
God,
and it was just pure atmosphere, and then getting to the top of those stairs and Dranglake Castle looking like something out of Black Cauldron, and it almost looking as if it's etched with chalk against the sky. Absolutely beautiful. It took my breath away. I just stood there for ages just going, ho, ho, ho. There was a real sense of dread, and I think it's one of the points where Dark Souls 2 felt not just its most atmospheric, but its most natural.
I agree. Yeah, it felt grand. Like you're going through this. It was the rain and the wind and the darkness, and it all sort of combines together with like the flickering torchlight and just that moment you turn the corner, like, oh, okay, here's that giant tower I've been looking at from a distance from everywhere. Oh no.
Even when you get down the bridge and you get to the door and you have to figure out the golem puzzle and stuff, it's still seeing all the moonlight shimmering off the rain-soaked tiles and the soldiers rushing at you from the left constantly and trying to work out that little puzzle. It just feels kind of panicky but beautiful at the same time, and very real as well.
You know what's funny with that is I didn't even realize what was going on.
Me neither.
I just saw the soldiers and killed them, and just magically, I guess I killed them in the right spots.
All right, okay.
You lucky swine. You lucky man. It took me like half an hour to work that out.
Yeah, I was down in the little area where they spawned from, and I was just like, I can't get through here. And then I sort of wandered away a little bit and turned around, and there was another one there. I was like, what? So it took me a while to get beyond dumbass on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of just haphazardly worked it out properly, I guess. And then later on, I realized what was going on, but it wasn't at the door that I noticed it.
You lucky, lucky man.
Yeah, I'd say that Dragon Lake Castle moment, and I love the Wharf. I think was fantastic from start to finish, but especially at the finish. The boss of the Wharf is just wonderful. That to me is Dark Souls perfection level.
But I mean, I didn't get to use Pyromancy because my build had no attunement slot.
Little bits like that, and that reminded me of, I think, one of the things I mentioned in that point.
Yeah.
Great design.
That's
another one.
Did you know about the water thing before? I beat it in one go and thought, oh, cool, done it. And then later you think, oh, the water rises, and you're like, does it?
Oh, I kind of realised when it was about up to my midriff, I think, and I was slowing down. I was like, oh, like
wait.
Part of me was going, and part of me was going, that's great.
Wait, the water rises in that boss fight?
Yeah.
Oh. I never knew.
Then.
Oh, you learn something every day.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Yeah, it takes time. Do you just drown?
Even when I was farming Shadow Knights who appear in New Game Plus, in that, well, yeah, just kind of ruined that. Anyways, when I was farming an enemy who appears during that boss fight, in New Game Plus, I still didn't realize. Did not know.
Well, I guess you're just really good.
The New Game Plus moment that I stumbled into on Dave's stream the other day, which was pure comedy gold, was Dave was going through the game and he was playing it incredibly well and having a chat with the stream. There was the point where he went into a room and then went to have a good proper chat with us. And at the point where he must have put the controller down, there was a black phantom in the room where there wasn't normally one. He just went like. And just ended him, and Dave was like, "What?" It's brilliant.
I literally looked down and to talk to you guys, and I looked up, and then all of a sudden there's a black phantom backstabbing me. And I was like,
"Oh, that's comedy gold. That's brilliant." Yeah. I mean, that's why I've not used any Bonfire SX because I want my New Game Plus run to be like a pure New Game Plus run. Like I want to have all the surprises straight off.
Yeah. I'm not going to ruin my favorite surprise for you, but there's one surprise in particular regarding a boss that was just like, it was the best surprise. It happened while I was doing a stream, and it was the best surprise that I've ever gotten from like replaying through a game. I was like, oh my god, this is incredible.
Oh, that's great.
It was scary. It scared the crap out of me, but it was really brilliant.
Oh, now I'm all excited.
So what do you make of the creative community for Dark Souls?
I hate them all.
Yeah, yeah, Dave. The rivals coming up soon.
Well, what do you mean? What way?
And I mean, I really like the fact that everyone seems to be really tight with one another. Everybody seems to be really helpful at. I don't know, not just bringing other people into the community, but highlighting things that people have done. And there's never a degree of, I do that. Why are you getting near my sort of stuff? When everybody does, like the lore stuff, obviously, like you're doing lore, Terramantises, Varti, Epic Name Bro. Yeah, they're all incredibly watchable. They've all got their own spin on things, but nobody's ever like, oh, you're doing lore stuff as well. Everybody's like, oh, put your spin on it. That's fantastic. But
no one's getting anger on Twitter going, oh, all these people doing lore videos after I started. Oh, how oregano.
No, but I wondered sort of
fans
how...
are though. Yeah. I mean, I think that's part of why, though, is because the lore in Dark Souls is so interpretable that there's so many different ways you can spin it. And also, a lot of us do it in different styles than each other. Like, I guess I'd say my style's a little closer to Epic Name Bros, where he kind of tells you, this is how it is, and he'll put his own spin on things. But I try to make sure mine is, I don't know, really analytical in the way that I do it, and I try to make it very cut and dry. Like, this is what the game tells you, this is what I think, and with high production value. So, where you look at someone like VaatiVidya or Terramantis, theirs is very narrative, and theirs is very driven by their opinion on how it happened. So you can watch either of their videos, and it's going to be different, and it's going to be a story. So it doesn't really matter. You can watch either one, I think, and it's still just as fun to watch. And again, like with Epic Name Bro and then also Silvermont, there's this sort of almost like a conversation in the way they're doing it. You almost feel like you're in the room having a conversation with them as they're telling you it.
And that's what I like about the lore, like the fact that, you know, because it's a new game again, and like people are working things out, and there's no right. I mean, there probably is a right answer, but there's no cast iron answer about some of these things yet. So you are getting people's interpretations. I could talk for hours about Lautrec. Still talk for hours about Lautrec and how I don't think he's a bad guy. And it's the same sort of thing. Like, you're getting different opinions coming up left, right, and centre, but. You know, they've all got good reasoning, and they're all, you know, no one's going, oh, well, that's dumb. Like, everyone's saying, okay, well, that's a cool idea, and sort of taking it and going with it. And that's something I like about the Dark Souls YouTube community, and, you know, just the Twitter, you know, the whole Dark Souls community in general, is that people are going to talk, and there's a conversation. And you don't get that in other games. Like, there's a conversation all the time, and, you know, new ideas are being thrown up, you know, as people progress through the game and put their own spin on things, and you see a little odd fact that you see that changes the way you think about everything.
Yeah, that's why I always encourage discussion in my videos, because I don't at all consider myself to be the end-all, be-all in any means. And I also think there are times that people put things in my comments where I'm like, actually, I think you're probably right, and I might have gotten it wrong. So, I mean, I honestly, I think I have just as deep of an understanding as anybody else playing the game. I just happen to know how to produce videos. So I think that's the only difference, is like I've been working in entertainment for a while and I know how to make videos, but I think anyone's interpretation is just as good as mine. So, and I think a lot of it also spawns from Epic Name Bro, honestly. I think he's really a lot of who started the community in a lot of ways when it comes to lore. And just he's such a good guy, and also he's one who's always encouraged discussion. So I think that's always put in people's minds, like, okay, let's discuss it. And I don't want to forget about Quaylog either. Quaylog, I think she was probably the first person to start posting lore videos, and she also has her own style. And I think she's kind of an underrated gem when it comes to lore.
Is Quaylog still doing stuff? Because I remember seeing some of those videos ages ago, and then they seem to slow down. And I got the impression from a few of the later ones that maybe she'd not got access to equipment, or that she felt a thunder had been stolen by other folks. But this was quite some time ago.
Well, she started doing it again for Dark Souls 2.
Oh, cool! So, I'll check those out.
And I don't know, like, I hope she doesn't think like someone like my video is like stealing her thunder in any way. Actually, in my story video, at the end of it, I linked to her video on one of her lore videos because she did such a good job. I wanted to share it with people. But, yeah, I think she's good. To me, I think she was the first person who really got it, like got the story and started posting lore on it. So, for Dark Souls 2. So I think she deserves a lot of credit for that.
I mean, on a personal note as well, I know you, with these videos, you're probably doing it for yourself and to get all your thoughts on a certain subject in one place as much for everybody else. But maybe you're not sure sort of how much enjoyment that the likes of yourself and Varty do bring to others, because it deepens a love and a curiosity about the game. And I mean, even recently, Tamor from CVG was saying that he stayed up until 4 in the morning watching lore stuff, and I'd sort of put him on to yours and Terramantis' stuff, and he was watching Varty and Epic Name Bro, and he stayed up till 4 in the morning, just absolutely consuming them. And you know, it's on a personal note, I really appreciate what you do, and it's definitely not only brought forth a greater appreciation of the game, but at times just plain entertained me, whether I'm watching my dinner, you know, I'm eating my dinner, or I'm exercising in the morning before work, or even if it's a bad point financially, or days got me down to raise a smile and pull me away from the world, is absolutely fantastic. You know, I absolutely adore that about the sheer content and entertainment that I get from the vids in different ways, which I know that's probably not the most articulate way of saying it, but you know, thank you, mate.
No, it really means a lot. And honestly, like I'm up until 4 in the morning a lot of nights working on the videos. So it's good to know some people are up until 4 in the morning watching them.
Yeah.
Like literally, a lot of these videos, the lore videos, can take like 40 hours to make a single lore video. So it's really nice. I really do appreciate that people enjoy it, because I mean, a lot of it is for my own satisfaction, because I want to make a video that I enjoy. So, and then I just hope that other people enjoy it too. So it means a lot, especially when I've been doing this for so long, and a lot of videos that I make, you get zero appreciation out of. So it's nice when people actually do, appreciate and enjoy it. So thank you. It really means a lot.
No worries. So, is there anything in particular that's coming up that you can sort of trailer with us now, and also if this is someone's first snippet of Dave, shall we say, where can they find you as well?
So on YouTube, it's DaveControlLive, and I know, weird name. I know it's not even live content. And on Twitter, it's at the Dave Klein, the one and only. So what I'm working on right now is I'm working on an Iron King lore video. So actually, after this, I'm going to start cracking down on doing researching for it, writing it, and all that. And I'm hoping to get that out by Monday night if I can. That's kind of my goal with the Iron King lore video. A lot of people have been asking for another Chosen Undead as an asshole, so I've been having it in my mind to make a second one for a long time. So I've been so consumed by Dark Souls 2, I haven't had time, but I really do want to crack down and make a second Chosen Undead as an asshole. And Terry Mantis and I have been working on, literally just started working on a new collaboration video. And I've got a PvP video I've been working on with another guy. That'll just be like a nice edited PvP type of video that I'm just trying to pull people into. Like another kind of montage collaboration type of video. So hopefully that'll turn out fun. So right now I'm still just trying to get clips from people and all that to put it together.
Well, I for one hope that your Iron Keep lore video explains that the Smelter Demon was there and he hacked the Iron King into a wall, because I saw your video of the Smelter Demon hacking you into the wall, and the same thing happened to me the exact same day about an hour before, and I was like, yes, I was doing well, and
I was so lucky that I was recording when I was doing that. I did the audio myself in post, to be honest, with that video, just to make it more fun.
I think you could tell.
Yeah. I put it in the description, too, and then I took it out of the description just because, I don't know, I probably should have kept it there. But anyways, I put it in post just to make it more fun. But yeah, I just literally just happened to have my recording device set up, and I just got really lucky. I was just like, I can't believe I actually got that recorded.
Yeah.
No way, I can put this up. So yeah, that would be great if I just put alternate theory. Smelter Demon's a hacker, and he just threw the Iron King into a wall.
That's why the Iron Keep is buried in lava, because he hacked it through the floor.
Clearly. I mean, especially when you consider, you go up and up and up through the earthen peak to the top, and then you go up another elevator into the clouds, and suddenly the Iron Keep is in lava. It's clearly because Smelter Demon hacked it into the lava.
Oh man, this is that note. This is the little fact that you find, and all of a sudden the lore makes sense.
Yeah,
why is there lava up there? Because Smelter Demon is a hacker.
That was it.
Smelter Demon, that's all you need.
That was the missing piece. That was the key.
Yeah, eat that.
Everything else falls into place. It just all falls into place from there.
Yeah.
Actually, Vadi just did a pretty funny lore spoof video where he was. I think it's unlisted. He should probably put it out unless he did that for his Patreon fans. But the video was a joke lore video about why there's delay in PvP, and when there'll be things that'll happen where you'll just constantly transport and things like that, and there's lag. I should say lag. He did lore on lag as a joke.
I hope he doesn't. That sounds cool.
I really hope that goes live soon. I really want to watch that now. Right then. Well, I think after 2 hours, I think that's probably a lot.
Do leave a chat. Really appreciate you joining us. Thank you very much, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry for taking up so much of everyone's time. Thanks for having me.
No, not at all.
Well, thank you ever so much for joining us. As we said, go check out Dave on DaveControlLive on YouTube and all the other places we've said. If you like him, click like and subscribe and whatever kind of good thing you can do on whatever you're listening or watching. Do that with us as well, please. It'd be nice. And I guess we'll see you all next week with probably another special guest.
Yay! Thank you guys so much for having me. I had a lot of fun, for real. So thank you guys.
Cool.
Cool. Thanks, mate.
Cool. Bye!
Bye.
Later.